Tonight's tea is boiling over, and if you thought you'd seen every level of petty on reality TV, think again. Because this time, it's not about music, money, or marriage, it's about breath, bodies, and bruised egos. Yes, you heard that right. Fans are shocked after whispers turned into full-blown chaos when Rasheeda allegedly went all the way there with Yandy Smith-Harris, and nothing was off limits. Not looks, not surgeries, not even personal hygiene. What started as a casual behind-the-scenes moment quickly spiraled into one of the messiest confrontations to ever rock love and hip-hop, Atlanta-adjacent drama. According to insiders, Rasheeda didn't just throw shade, she dragged it, stomped on it, and set it on fire. One comment about Yandy's energy allegedly turned into a jaw-dropping insult about her breath, followed by a shocking jab at her BBL that left the room frozen in disbelief. Emotions ran high, voices were raised, and what was supposed to stay private exploded into a full-on reality TV nightmare. Witnesses say the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Friends picked sides. Cameras stopped rolling, but the drama didn't. Fans online are already divided, with some calling Rasheeda too far gone, while others claim Yandy had it coming. And just when you think it couldn't get messier, there's word that this beef might be tied to old jealousy, silent competition, and secrets neither woman wanted exposed. So the question is, was this a harmless joke taken the wrong way, or a calculated takedown years in the making? Buckle up, because once this story starts unraveling, there's no turning back. The room was already buzzing before either woman walked in, that low hum of anticipation that only comes when too many egos are forced into one space. Producers whispered, assistants hovered, and everybody could feel that something was about to pop off. When Rasheeda stepped in first, she had that calm smile on her face, the kind fans know usually comes right before the storm. She hugged a few people, laughed lightly, but her eyes were scanning the room, calculating. Fans watching later would swear they saw it, that split second where her jaw tightened as soon as she spotted Yandy Smith-Harris across the room. Yandy, on the other hand, walked in loud and confident, energy high, voice carrying. She was cracking jokes, flipping her hair, soaking up attention like she always does. Some people smiled, others exchanged looks. The history between these two wasn't exactly friendly, even if it had never exploded publicly before. There were old comparisons, old rumors, and unspoken competition that fans had speculated about for years. Nobody expected it to finally boil over like this. It started small, almost too small to clock. Yandy leaned over to greet Rasheeda, hugging her a little too long, laughing a little too close. When she pulled back, Rasheeda tilted her head and said, half smiling, "You good?" The room chuckled, thinking it was playful. Yandy laughed back, brushing it off, but her eyes narrowed just a bit. Emotions ran high beneath the surface, even if the words were still coated in sugar. Minutes later, the conversation shifted to business, appearances, and who was booked where. That's when the tension crept back in. Yandy made a slick comment about working non-stop and not having time to sit around, glancing directly at Rasheeda. Fans are shocked when they realize this was the moment everything changed. Rasheeda's smile faded, just slightly, but enough. She leaned back in her chair and said, calm but sharp, baby, not everybody gotta move loud to move smart. The room went quiet. Yandy laughed, but it sounded forced. She clapped her hands once and said, okay, come on, motivational speaker. A few people laughed nervously. Others looked down at their phones. Rasheeda leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on Yandy. I'm just saying, sometimes all that extra talking comes with extra issues. Yandy blinked. What issues? She asked, eyebrows raised. Rasheeda paused, letting the silence stretch. That's when she said it. Low, slow, deadly, energy issues, hygiene issues. Gasps rippled through the room. Somebody whispered, oh nah. Yandy's smile dropped instantly. What you trying to say? She snapped. Rasheeda shrugged, unbothered. I'm saying what everybody else be thinking but too polite to say. When you talk all up in people's faces, make sure everything is fresh. Fans later replayed this moment over and over, stunned at how fast it escalated. Yandy shot up from her seat. Don't play with me like that, she yelled. Don't you ever talk about me like that. Her voice echoed, hands shaking. Rasheeda didn't raise her voice. That's what made it worse. If it don't apply, why you mad? She replied. The room exploded. People stood up, talking over each other. Friends tried to step between them. Producers rushed in, but the damage was already done. Yandy pointed at Rasheeda, eyes blazing. You been hating for years, she shouted. Ever since I stepped in my glow, you couldn't stand it. Rasheeda laughed, a short, dry laugh. Your glow? Girl, please. That's when Rasheeda went even lower. She looked Yandy up and down and said, and while we being honest, that body you bragging on? Don't act like everybody don't know it's bought, paid for, and still needing a refund. Silence. Pure, heavy silence. Fans are shocked doesn't even begin to cover it. Yandy's mouth fell open. Someone in the background muttered, BBL, under their breath. Yandy screamed, you crossed the line. Rasheeda shot back, you crossed it first when you started acting brand new. Emotions ran high as Yandy accused Rasheeda of being jealous, bitter, and threatened. She brought up Rasheeda's marriage, her past struggles, things that were supposed to stay off limits. Don't act like your life's so perfect, Yandy yelled. Everybody know what you put up with. The room froze again. Rasheeda's face hardened. For the first time, her voice shook. Keep my family out your mouth, she warned. Others jumped in, trying to calm things down, but the family was left divided right there in that room. Some people pulled Yandy back, telling her to breathe. Others surrounded Rasheeda, whispering that she went too far but also admitting Yandy had been poking for a while. Fans watching later would say this felt less like a fight and more like years of resentment finally spilling out. As Yandy was dragged toward the door, she turned back one last time. This ain't over, she yelled. You wanted attention? You got it. Rasheeda didn't respond. She just sat there, arms crossed, eyes glossy but unblinking. The room slowly emptied, leaving behind a tension so thick it felt permanent. Nobody knew it yet, but this was only the beginning, and the fallout from those words was about to get a whole lot messier. The fallout didn't stop when the door closed behind Yandy. If anything, that's when it really started. Phones came out immediately, texts flying, group chats lighting up like fireworks. People who had been in the room replayed the moment in their heads, trying to figure out how a greeting turned into a full-blown character assassination. Rasheeda stayed seated long after everyone else moved around her, staring at the table like she was daring someone to say something else. Emotions ran high, but nobody wanted to be the next target. One of the girls finally broke the silence, whispering, "That went left." Rasheeda exhaled slowly and said, "I'm not apologizing for telling the truth." That sentence alone traveled fast. Within minutes, word reached Yandy's circle that Rasheeda wasn't backing down. Fans are shocked when clips started leaking, audio snippets recorded secretly, voices overlapping, the word BBL clear as day. Social media ate it up, turning a private blow-up into a public spectacle overnight. Yandy, meanwhile, was pacing in a black suit, hands shaking, voice raised as she vented to her husband on speaker. She embarrassed me, she kept saying. On purpose. Her team tried to calm her down, but the damage to her pride was already done. For Yandy, this wasn't just shade. This was an attack on her image, her brand, and her authority. She felt played, disrespected, and exposed. By the next morning, blogs were posting headlines about the clash between Rasheeda and Yandy Smith-Harris, calling it the messiest crossover drama fans had seen in years. Comments poured in. Some fans dragged Rasheeda for going too low, while others cheered her on, calling it long overdue. The family was left divided online just like in that room. Rasheeda watched it all unfold from her phone, unreadable expression on her face. She didn't post right away. That silence spoke louder than any clapback. People close to her said she felt betrayed more than anything. According to insiders, she believed Yandy had been throwing subtle jabs for years, hiding behind jokes and confidence. "She's been testing me," Rasheeda allegedly told a friend. "I just finally responded." Yandy didn't stay quiet for long. She went live that afternoon, makeup flawless, voice calm but icy. "I'm not gonna let anybody disrespect me and get away with it," she said to thousands of viewers. "There are lines you don't cross." She denied everything Rasheeda implied, calling the comments malicious and jealous. "I worked hard for everything I have," she added. "Nobody can take that from me." Fans were glued to their screens. Emotions ran high in the comments. Some begged for receipts, others demanded apologies, but behind the scenes, the situation was getting even uglier. Mutual friends were being questioned, asked to pick sides. One stylist reportedly cut ties with Rasheeda, while a longtime associate of Yandy quietly unfollowed her, fueling rumors that people knew more than they were saying. Then came the twist nobody expected. An old interview clip resurfaced, showing Yandy joking about cosmetic procedures years earlier. Nothing incriminating, but enough to reignite the fire. Rasheeda didn't post it herself, but fans noticed she liked a comment referencing it. That one tap sent the internet spiraling again. Yandy saw it as confirmation that Rasheeda was orchestrating a smear campaign. Things escalated when a mutual cast member leaked a voice note. In it, Rasheeda could allegedly be heard saying, "I said what I said. If the shoe fits, lace it." Whether it was real or not didn't matter. Fans believed it. Yandy felt cornered. She fired back with her own claims, hinting that Rasheeda had secrets she didn't want exposed either. "Everybody got a past," she posted cryptically. "Don't make me open that door." That threat shook people. Rasheeda's family reportedly urged her to de-escalate, worried the drama could spill into areas that hurt more than pride. For a moment, Rasheeda considered backing off. But then she saw another clip of Yandy laughing on a podcast, calling the situation clout chasing. That was it. Whatever restraint Rasheeda had left disappeared. She finally posted, "No names, no explanations, just a single line. Don't poke a bear then cry when it roars." Fans are shocked at how fast the post went viral. People knew exactly who it was about. Yandy responded within minutes with laughing emojis and the word deflection. The back and forth felt endless, each post sharper than the last. Behind the drama, producers were already licking their chops. Sources claimed calls were being made about cameras, sit-downs, and confrontations. Everyone knew this wasn't just personal anymore. This was reality TV gold. But for Rasheeda and Yandy, it was real hurt, real anger, and real consequences. Friends tried to arrange a private conversation, hoping to squash it before it went further. The idea was floated, then rejected. Yandy said she didn't feel safe being disrespected again. Rasheeda said she wouldn't apologize for defending herself. The family was left divided, and the gap between them grew wider by the day. As days passed, fans started picking apart every past interaction between the two women, seeing shade where none was noticed before. A compliment here, a side-eye there. Suddenly, it all made sense to them. This wasn't random. This was years of tension finally exploding in one brutal moment. And just when it seemed like the drama had peaked, word leaked that there would be a face-to-face confrontation soon, one that wouldn't be behind closed doors. Emotions ran high as anticipation built. Because if the first blow-up was this explosive, whatever came next promised to be downright unforgettable. The news of that possible face-to-face spread fast, faster than either woman could control. Fans were shocked at how quickly anticipation turned into pressure. Blogs speculated about locations, motives, and whether it would end in peace or total destruction. Yandy's camp insisted she was open to talking but only with respect. Rasheeda's side said she wasn't running from anything and had nothing to take back. Emotions ran high on both ends, and the tension felt like a ticking clock. When the meeting was finally set up, it wasn't private like some hoped. Cameras were nearby, people were nearby, and energy was already off before either woman arrived. Rasheeda showed up first again, dressed calm but calculated, lips pressed tight. Those close to her said she barely spoke on the way there, replaying every insult thrown at her, every comment online questioning her character. For her, this wasn't about breath or bodies anymore. It was about respect. Yandy arrived 10 minutes later, sunglasses on, posture stiff. She didn't greet anyone. She went straight to her seat and crossed her arms. The silence between them felt aggressive. Producers hovered, trying to set rules, but both women barely listened. They were locked in. Rasheeda finally broke the silence. "I'm here because I was asked to be," she said calmly. "Not because I owe you anything." Yandy scoffed. "See, that right there is the problem," she replied. "You think disrespect is cute." Rasheeda tilted her head. "And you think entitlement is confidence." That opened the floodgates. Yandy accused Rasheeda of trying to humiliate her in front of peers, of weaponizing personal comments for attention. "You knew what you were doing," Yandy said, voice shaking. "You wanted a moment." Rasheeda shot back instantly. "No, I wanted you to stop playing in my face." Fans are shocked at how raw it became. Yandy admitted she felt judged, not just by Rasheeda, but by everyone watching. "Do you know what it feels like to be reduced to rumors?" she asked. Rasheeda paused, then laughed bitterly. "Do you know what it feels like to smile in someone's face while they sneak diss you for years?" Others in the room shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't surface drama anymore. It was deep. Yandy denied sneak dissing, calling Rasheeda overly sensitive. Rasheeda listed moments, comments, side remarks that suddenly made sense. Each example landed heavier than the last. The family was left divided even in that room, with some nodding along and others shaking their heads. Then came another twist. Yandy brought up loyalty. She accused Rasheeda of letting fans drag her without stepping in. "You liked comments," Yandy said sharply. "You fueled it." Rasheeda didn't deny it. "I didn't start it," she replied. "But I didn't stop it either." That admission hit hard. Yandy stood up, pacing. "That tells me everything," she said. "This was intentional." Rasheeda stood too. "No," she snapped. "What was intentional was me finally choosing myself." Voices rose. Producers stepped closer. Yandy accused Rasheeda of hiding behind marriage and longevity to feel superior. Rasheeda accused Yandy of using power and platforms to silence people. Fans watching later would say this felt less like a reality TV scene and more like two women unloading years of frustration. At one point, Yandy's eyes filled with tears. "You embarrassed me," she repeated quietly. Rasheeda's face softened for half a second, then hardened again. "You embarrassed yourself when you thought I was weak," she said. That moment changed the tone. The room fell silent again. Emotions ran high, but so did exhaustion. Neither woman looked victorious. They looked tired. Yandy sat back down, wiping her face. Rasheeda crossed her arms, staring at the floor. A mediator suggested apologies. Yandy shook her head. Rasheeda stayed silent. Finally, Yandy said, "I don't forgive you." Rasheeda replied, "I didn't ask you to." That was it. The meeting ended without resolution, without hugs, without closure. Fans are shocked when word got out that after the meeting, Yandy allegedly warned others to choose wisely. Rasheeda allegedly said, "I see everything now." Friendships shifted overnight. Invites stopped. Alliances formed. The family was left divided in ways that couldn't be undone easily. Online, the narrative spiraled again. Some fans praised Rasheeda for standing her ground. Others accused her of lacking empathy. Yandy gained sympathy for showing vulnerability, but also criticism for playing victim. No one won. Everyone watched. Just when it seemed like things might cool off, another surprise surfaced. A mutual associate hinted that more footage existed, moments before the initial blow-up that could change everything. Fans leaned in. Emotions ran high all over again. Because if that footage ever dropped, it threatened to flip the entire story upside down and make everything that happened so far look like only half the truth. The rumor about unseen footage hit like gasoline on an already raging fire. Nobody knew exactly what was on it, only that it existed and that it had been deliberately kept quiet. Fans are shocked at how quickly the tone shifted from, "Who was wrong?" to, "What are they hiding?" Emotions ran high across social media, with people dissecting every frame from earlier clips, every pause, every look, convinced the truth had been edited out on purpose. Rasheeda heard about the footage through a mutual friend late that night. She sat in her living room, phone in hand, jaw clenched. Part of her wanted it out. Part of her was terrified of what it might show. She kept replaying the moment Yandy leaned in too close, the comment that set everything off. In her mind, it justified everything that came after. But footage has a way of telling stories differently. Yandy, meanwhile, felt vindicated. To her, the existence of unseen footage meant proof. Proof that Rasheeda had been waiting for a moment, proof that the attack wasn't spontaneous. She told her team, "If that video drops, people will finally see." Her confidence returned, but it was sharper now, edged with bitterness. Days passed with no release. The silence became unbearable. Bloggers teased it, insiders hinted, fans begged. Emotions ran high as speculation grew wilder by the hour. Some claimed the footage showed Rasheeda smirking before the insult. Others swore it caught Yandy making a slick comment first. Nobody knew, and that uncertainty was tearing both women apart. Finally, a short clip leaked. Just 10 seconds. Grainy. No sound at first. It showed Yandy leaning in, laughing, whispering something. Rasheeda's smile faded immediately after. Fans are shocked at how fast opinions flipped again. "She definitely said something," people commented. Rasheeda didn't just snap for no reason. Yandy panicked when she saw it. Without audio, the clip worked against her. She went live again, visibly frustrated. "That clip proves nothing," she insisted. People loved to assume. Rasheeda stayed quiet this time, but her silence felt louder than ever. Friends urged her to speak, to control the narrative. She refused. "I'm done explaining myself," she said. The pressure started affecting both their personal lives. Rasheeda's family noticed she was quieter, more guarded. She hated that something so ugly was now tied to her name. Yandy's household felt the strain too. She snapped easily, pacing, replaying scenarios where she could have handled things differently. The family was left divided not just publicly, but privately too. Then came another twist. The full footage was offered to multiple outlets, but with conditions. Money, exclusivity, control. That's when things got dark. Accusations flew that someone close to the situation was trying to profit off the chaos. Fingers pointed everywhere. Trust shattered completely. Rasheeda was accused of leaking it. She denied it. Yandy accused her anyway. "This is what you wanted," she messaged through a mutual. Rasheeda responded with one line, "Stop blaming me for the consequences of your mouth." That message leaked too. Fans are shocked at how personal it became. When the full footage finally dropped, it didn't give the clean answers people wanted. Audio revealed Yandy joking, but not cruelly. Rasheeda looked tense, but not plotting. The insult still came later. It showed two women misunderstanding each other, but also two women too proud to back down. Emotions ran high as viewers realized there was no clear villain. That realization didn't bring peace. It brought disappointment. Fans felt manipulated. Some apologized. Others doubled down. The damage, however, was already done. Rasheeda and Yandy didn't speak after that. Not privately. Not publicly. The distance between them felt permanent. Weeks later, an industry event brought them into the same space again. No confrontation. No words. Just a glance across the room. Rasheeda looked away first. Yandy noticed and laughed softly to herself, but her eyes looked tired. The family was left divided still, with no sign of healing. People expected time to cool things down. Instead, it hardened everything. Both women moved differently now. More cautious. More guarded. Every smile questioned. Every post analyzed. The drama had changed them, whether they admitted it or not. And as the buzz slowly faded, one thing became clear to everyone watching. This wasn't just about breath, or bodies, or insults thrown in anger. It was about pride, perception, and what happens when two powerful women refuse to be the one who blinks first. Emotions ran high to the very end, and even without another word exchange, the tension lingered, unresolved, heavy, and waiting. Even as the public noise slowly died down, the private consequences kept stacking up. Opportunities started shifting in subtle ways that only insiders could see. Rasheeda noticed calls weren't being returned as fast. Meetings got rescheduled. Nothing obvious, nothing she could point to, but enough to feel. She told herself it didn't matter, that she'd been in this game too long to be shaken. Still, late at night, she replayed everything, wondering if saying less would have saved her more. Yandy felt it too, just differently. Brands still wanted her, platforms still welcomed her, but the warmth had changed. People asked careful questions. Interviews danced around the drama without naming it, and every time she answered, she could feel herself tightening. She hated that one moment had become a shadow following her everywhere. Fans are shocked when they realized how much that single confrontation altered both women's trajectories. A few mutuals tried again to broker peace, quietly suggesting a joint statement or at least a ceasefire. Rasheeda refused. Silence is my statement, she said. Yandy laughed when she heard that. Silence is guilt, she replied. The family was left divided all over again, with some urging maturity and others feeding the resentment. Then another unexpected twist surfaced. An old acquaintance of both women gave an anonymous interview, claiming the tension had started years ago over a business deal that fell apart. According to them, money, credit, and respect were always at the center of it. Fans are shocked as this narrative gained traction. Suddenly the fight wasn't petty anymore. It was strategic, calculated, layered. Rasheeda didn't deny knowing about the deal. She also didn't confirm it. Yandy addressed it vaguely, saying, "People love rewriting history." The ambiguity kept the story alive. Emotions ran high as fans debated motives instead of insults now. Time passed, but the divide hardened. When news broke that both women would attend the same major industry weekend, anticipation spiked again. Cameras were everywhere. Blogs hovered. This time, though, nothing happened. No words, no looks, just distance. Some fans called it growth. Others called it unresolved tension waiting to explode again. Behind the scenes, Rasheeda admitted to a close friend that the situation changed how she trusted people. "Every joke feels like shade now," she said. Yandy confessed something similar, saying she hated feeling watched all the time. "Like I'm always one comment away from being dragged," she said. Both women were affected more than either would ever admit publicly. Months later, when asked in an interview what she learned from the situation, Rasheeda paused. "Not everybody deserves access," she said. Yandy, asked the same question elsewhere, answered, "Protect your image like your life depends on it." Fans are shocked at how similar yet opposite their lessons sounded. The drama never truly ended. It just faded into legend, referenced in comments, brought up whenever either woman spoke too confidently or laughed too loudly. The family was left divided long-term, with scars that didn't show on camera. And even now, people close to both sides say the story still isn't finished. Because when pride meets memory, and neither side feels whole, all it takes is one moment, one word, one look, for everything to ignite all over again. By the time everyone thought the story was finally dying, a new wave of whispers started circulating, quieter but sharper. Insiders claimed there were still private messages, voice notes, and screenshots that never made it to the public. Not because they didn't exist, but because releasing them would scorch everyone involved. Fans are shocked when they hear that both camps allegedly agreed, silently, to keep certain things buried. Emotions ran high behind closed doors, even if the internet had moved on to the next headline. Rasheeda tried to refocus on her family and business, telling herself peace was more valuable than being right. But every time she stepped into a room, she could feel the shift. People watched her closer now, like they were waiting for another outburst. She hated that narrative. To her, she wasn't explosive. She was pushed. She told a friend, "They only call you aggressive when you stop being convenient." Yandy, meanwhile, leaned into control. She tightened her circle, cut off access, and started moving with a polished distance that fans noticed immediately. Some called it growth, others called it cold. She didn't care. What hurt her most wasn't the insult itself, but the laughter that followed it, the way people replayed her humiliation for entertainment. She said privately, "They don't see a person, they see a moment." Months later, at a low-key charity event, fate tested both women again. The space was small, intimate, not meant for drama. Rasheeda arrived first, relaxed, laughing with familiar faces. Yandy walked in later, pausing briefly when she saw her. For a split second, it felt like the past might rush back in. Fans would have lost their minds if cameras caught it, but none were rolling. This time, something different happened. Rasheeda looked up, met Yandy's eyes, and nodded. Not friendly, not hostile, just acknowledgement. Yandy hesitated, then nodded back. No words, no tension exploding, just two women choosing restraint. Emotions ran high internally, but the moment passed. People nearby felt it, though. The energy shifted, softened. Someone whispered, "Maybe they're done." Maybe they were. Or maybe they were just tired. The family was left divided still, but cracks of neutrality appeared where there used to be open sides. Later that night, Rasheeda admitted the nod took effort. "I didn't do it for her," she said. "I did it for me." Yandy admitted something similar, saying it felt good not to react. Fans are shocked when they hear that neither woman felt victorious. They felt relieved. Still, the past lingered. Anytime cosmetic surgery debates popped online, comments dragged the situation back up. Anytime someone mentioned respect, people referenced the breath comment. It became part of pop culture gossip, frozen in time. Neither woman could fully escape it. A year later, when asked directly if she would ever reconcile, Rasheeda answered carefully. "I don't hold grudges," she said. "I hold boundaries." Yandy, asked the same, said, "Forgiveness doesn't mean access." The symmetry wasn't lost on fans. What started as a petty exchange turned into a lesson neither wanted to teach. About words, about pride, about how fast things spiral when ego and hurt collide. Fans are shocked when they realize there was never a clear winner, only fallout. Even now, people swear the tension could reignite under the right conditions. A reunion, a comment, a laugh taken the wrong way. Because some conflicts don't end with apologies or closure. They just settle into silence, waiting. And in that silence, both women moved forward, changed, guarded, and aware that one moment can rewrite how the world sees you. Emotions ran high once, and the echo of that moment still follows them, reminding everyone watching that drama doesn't always scream. Sometimes, it just stays quiet, heavy, and unresolved. Long after the last nod and the last whisper, the story took on a life of its own, morphing into something neither woman could fully control. Fans were shocked at how often their names were still linked together, like the universe refused to separate them. Every interview, every appearance, every casual laugh became fuel for speculation. Emotions ran high not because anything new happened, but because nothing had ever truly been resolved. Rasheeda started noticing a shift in how people approached her. Conversations felt cautious, jokes stopped halfway, compliments came wrapped in disclaimers. She hated that more than the confrontation itself. Say what you mean or don't say nothing, she muttered one day after an awkward exchange. To her, honesty had cost her peace, but pretending would have cost her self-respect. Yandy felt watched in a different way. Every word she spoke felt like it was being measured against that moment. Fans compared her tone, her posture, even her smiles to the night everything exploded. She told a friend, "I feel like I'm always auditioning to be forgiven for something I didn't fully do." The weight of public judgment sat heavy on her shoulders. Behind the scenes, people who once thrived on drama started pulling away. No one wanted to be caught in the middle if tensions reignited. The family was left divided still, but now it was quieter, colder. No yelling, no sides taken loudly, just distance, invitations sent to one and not the other, rooms rearranged to avoid overlap. Then came a rumor that shook things again. Whispers that a reunion-style sit-down had been pitched, one last attempt to close the chapter publicly. Fans are shocked when both women reportedly turned it down for different reasons. Rasheeda didn't want to relive it. Yandy didn't want to risk another edit. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Time kept moving, but the narrative stayed stuck. Younger fans discovered the drama late, reacting as if it just happened. Clips resurfaced. Commentary videos dissected tone and timing. Emotions ran high all over again as a new generation chose sides. Rasheeda rolled her eyes when she saw it trending again. Yandy muted words on her phone. Both were exhausted by a past that wouldn't stay buried. One night, Rasheeda finally spoke honestly to someone she trusted. "I don't regret defending myself," she said. "I regret how loud the world got after." Yandy, in a separate conversation, admitted, "I wish I had checked it before it went there." Neither statement reached the public. Maybe that was intentional. The strangest part was how similar their journeys became after the fallout. Both became more private, both tightened their circles, both stopped explaining themselves. Fans are shocked when they notice the parallels, even while the women themselves refused to acknowledge them. Years from now, people would still reference that moment as a turning point. Not because of what was said, but because of what it revealed. Pride, insecurity, power, pain, all colliding in one space with nowhere to go. Emotions ran high because the stakes were personal, not performative. And while the world kept asking who won, the real answer stayed uncomfortable. Nobody did, because winning a moment doesn't mean winning peace. And losing control, even briefly, can echo longer than anyone expects. The story never ended with an apology, a hug, or a clean resolution. It ended the way many real conflicts do. With distance, with boundaries, with lessons learned the hard way. The family was left divided, not dramatically, but permanently altered. Even now, if their paths crossed again, people swear they'd feel it. That hum, that pause, that awareness of history sitting between them. Not loud, not explosive, just present. And maybe that's the real legacy of it all. Not the insult, not the rumors, but the reminder that some words can't be taken back, some moments can't be edited away, and some drama doesn't fade. It settles, quietly, deeply, waiting for the next spark, or the final acceptance that not everything needs closure to be over. The quiet didn't mean peace, it meant distance, and distance has a way of sharpening memory instead of softening it. Weeks turned into months, and months into a strange new normal where both women existed in the same industry but in completely separate lanes. Fans were shocked at how little it took for old tension to resurface in conversation, even when neither name was mentioned directly. Emotions ran high anytime someone spoke about respect, loyalty, or knowing when to draw the line. Rasheeda started channeling her frustration into work, pouring herself into projects with a new intensity. People around her noticed the edge, the way she no longer laughed things off. If something felt off, she said it plainly. No smoothing it over, no smiling through discomfort. To her, the drama had taught one brutal lesson: silence can cost more than honesty. Still, late nights brought reflection, and sometimes regret crept in, quiet and unwanted. Yandy moved with precision, every step calculated. She curated her appearances carefully, choosing spaces where she felt celebrated, not questioned. She hated that one moment had given people permission to doubt her, to analyze her confidence as arrogance. She told herself she was unbothered, but certain nights proved otherwise. scrolling past comments, rereading old messages, wondering how quickly perception could flip. The family was left divided in a way that felt permanent now. Not dramatic, not loud, just fractured. People who once shared tables now avoided eye contact. Group chats went silent. Birthdays were celebrated separately. It wasn't about choosing sides anymore, it was about avoiding discomfort. Fans are shocked when insiders admitted the ripple effect reached far beyond the two women. Another year passed, and the story settled into legend. Commentary channels referenced it as a case study in reality drama gone too far. Younger voices debated it like history, dissecting tone and intention. Emotions ran high again as clips resurfaced, stripped of context, fueling fresh outrage. Rasheeda ignored it publicly, but privately she felt the sting all over again. Yandy did the same, pretending indifference while muting words that still hurt to see. There was a moment, brief and unexpected, when reconciliation felt possible. A mutual friend mentioned that Yandy had spoken kindly about Rasheeda in a private conversation, admitting she missed the version of things before everything blew up. Rasheeda heard about it and paused. For a second, she considered reaching out. Just a text, just a line, but pride and protection won. She put the phone down. Yandy had her own moment of hesitation. She drafted a message once, stared at it, then deleted it. What if it opens things back up, she asked herself. Not healing, but chaos. She wasn't willing to risk that. Emotions ran high, but restraint felt safer than hope. Years later, when asked what advice she'd give younger women in the industry, Rasheeda said, "Don't let people get too comfortable disrespecting you, even as a joke." Yandy, asked something similar, said, "Address things early before resentment grows teeth." Fans are shocked at how both statements traced back to the same wound without ever naming it. The irony was impossible to miss. Two women shaped by the same moment, moving forward with parallel boundaries, never intersecting again. The drama didn't destroy them, but it did harden something inside both. Trust became selective, access became limited, vulnerability became rare. People still argue about who was right, who went too far, who should have apologized first. But the truth stayed messy and unresolved. Because real conflict rarely ends cleanly. It lingers in tone, in posture, in the way someone pauses before responding. And even now, if their names appear in the same sentence, there's a reaction. A tightening, a memory. Emotions ran high once, and the echo never fully disappeared. The family was left divided, not because of hatred, but because some moments change the shape of relationships forever. The world moved on, as it always does, but that chapter stayed dog-eared, easy to reopen. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was human. Flawed, unresolved, and maybe that's why it still matters. Because beneath the noise, the insults, and the spectacle, it was never just about what was said. It was about what couldn't be taken back, and the silence that followed. And now that you've heard how deep this drama really goes, it's on you. Was Rasheeda wrong for saying what everybody else was allegedly thinking, or did Yandy push the situation until it finally exploded? Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided, but the real question is this: who do you believe crossed the line first? This story had shade, pride, silence, and consequences that stretched far beyond one heated moment. And even now, nothing feels fully resolved. Do you think this beef is truly over, or is it just waiting for the next spark to reignite? Because in this world, all it takes is one look, one comment, one reunion to bring everything rushing back. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't back readers by telling us whose side you're on and why. If you were in that room, how would you have reacted? Would you have spoken up, stayed quiet, or walked away? Make sure you hit like if this breakdown had you locked in from start to finish. Subscribe if you don't want to miss any more jaw-dropping drama, messy fallout, and stories everyone else is afraid to tell. And turn on those notifications so you're always first in line when the next bombshell drops. This story may be quiet right now, but silence doesn't mean peace. Stay tuned, because when it comes to reality drama, the past always finds a way back.